Good eclipse day, everybody. How you doing, Peter and Kevin and Ziggy and everybody? Everyone doing okay? So my hope for all of you on this eclipse day is that the remainder of this trading year, that your wildest expectations are eclipsed, that your greatest expectations are eclipsed for the remainder of the trading year. How you doing, Windsor? Long time. Stan, Scott, how are you? Raghu, Praveen, Peter, Patricia, how are you? Ardianto, how are you? Hi, Kevin. JPFX, Stalin's in the house. Everyone doing all right? Jess, how are you, brother? Hugh, Glenn, Greg. Okay. So on Friday, I said I wanted to be out of this euro pound. I expected one more high. We got it after the phase session was over to 91.50. I had seen that retailers were too short euro pound. I'm looking for one more high to get all over it. Could be up around 91.60, 91.70, thinking it's today or tomorrow. And the reason for that is I'm looking for one more shot down in cable. 28 comes to mind. I've seen some 27.50 targets. In fact, way back here when we were bearish at pound, I asked Stelios, I said, you know, long term, where would you be looking to buy the pound? And he said 27.50. And there's a lot of support right around this 27.50 level. So that's what I'm looking for in here in the pound. So after euro pound peaks, then the pound becomes the preferred long and euro becomes the preferred short. Everyone with me? So I'm going to short euro pound, and then once we're up there, the euro will become the preferred short, and maybe by then the pound is 28 or less, and that will become the preferred long. Everyone with me on that? Understand the rationale? It's all mainly keyed on euro pound here, so I'm expecting one more high. I think it's this week. And, you know, for those that are afraid of missing it, what I would say is maybe you have a small piece on now and you sell more at 60 or better. Okay, so we'll see up here. Guppy, I can't get short down here. I know it's a confirmed low, but I just can't short it down here. And in fact, I think there's going to be something counter trend in pound Aussie. I just wanted to show this. I think there's one more low. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3, and then I think there's going to be some type of pop there. Just counter trend. We know the trend in Guppy and we know the trend in pound Aussie, right? So these are mainly counter trend like trades. So let's see what happens down here if this happens one more time for a third drive down here. Magnet, magnet, magnet. Anyway, I'm going to remove it. So I think Steve's with us, and I know he's probably got more to say than I do. But those are the things I'm laying for. Steve's much more of a, you know, if you could ask someone about the Polish zloty, and then they can pull up a chart within 5 seconds of the Polish zloty, you know that the guy, you know that the guy is on top of his game. So, Stel, Steve, how are you guys? Baloo, how are you? Hello,
hey,
team.
Daily.
How you feeling, buddy?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Sounds like you're scuba diving.
Really? Sorry,
Now
I haven't
you're
tried
okay.
this. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm not at the office. I'm not at I'm not at home. I'm at a hotel. I'm going to be spending this week in a beautiful place called Kalamata. It's on the sea. I can show you later if you want. But since we have to do what we have to do, I have my MacBook, I have my iPad with me, and I spend most of the day working starting today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. At least, this gives me an opportunity to have a swim, between some work, etc.
Good.
I
So
hope
is the connection good enough to show your screen?
Definitely, and the hotel has a very good Wi-Fi. And if at some point you tell me that you can't see me well or you can hear me well, I have with me a 4G router as well. I can just switch it on, and I'm going to have a perfect signal. So let me know if something is wrong with the connection, and I can switch within a few seconds. Okay?
Okay, buddy. So I'm looking for one more drive in euro pound and maybe pound. I'm looking for one more shot down towards 28, 27.50. So those are the main
since I'm on my
main pairs I'm looking at.
Since I'm on my MacBook.
Okay.
Do you want to give me the screen, because it's going to be much easier than me grabbing it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And we can see quite a lot of things. Actually, obviously last week, we had a good amount of volatility. Okay. Let me know when you can see me.
Got it.
Okay. Great. Okay, so last week we had a decent amount of volatility. Personally, I expect that this theme might resume. By the way, I already told Stelios, Dale, both you and Stelios, if you want to help me out with the questions, because I don't have multiple monitors as I have in the office and at home. That would be helpful. So whatever questions we have, but of course we have some things to talk about first. So far, today has been a very quiet day. There's no question about it. But I think that we should expect some continuation of some moves we've already seen. Obviously, all eyes remain on stocks and on stock indices, simply because we had a decent amount of volatility, and a lot of people expect some continuation. I also see the potential of further downside, as we've seen many times. The biggest development here has been the break higher in the VIX, which we can see here very clearly. Given the seasonality and given the fact that plenty of the factors that produced this downside in stocks have not gone away, have not receded, I think that the chances for further stock weakness are quite high. Especially, obviously we have to take everything in context. Okay, we've been in a massive multi-year rally and in a massive bull market. Every time we're talking about some bearish momentum or whatever, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because obviously, a bull market is always a bull market. But if there was a time period recently that we could have expected, some downside continuation, is now. As I've said on Friday as well, SPX and the Nasdaq are still above key levels. So, despite other indices having already breached important levels, like the Dow has done here, as we see, like the IWM has done here, breaking below the wedge, as the Nikkei has done, still the major indices are holding, which is the SPX and the Nasdaq. So, for me, seeing a bridge below 2,400 in the SPX, and seeing Nasdaq bridge this bull flag channel, which might now act as support, is going to be, critical. Until then, I remain very cautious. I see some potential trades here. By the way, since we talked about the Nikkei as well, obviously the yen is one pair to monitor, because the yen has been struggling. It has already breached this triangle. Actually, let's make it more clear here on the screen. Okay, it has already breached this triangle, and it's already trading below it. So the potential for another push lower towards 106 is very high. We are still struggling with the previous low, which is at 108.80. We haven't managed actually to close below it. But in all honesty, this pattern is not bullish. It's actually quite bearish. And as long as we remain below 111, which gave us this high here, there is absolutely no reason for somebody to be bullish. Okay. So in general, risk is off,
Risk
more or less.
off. You're looking for a continuation of. You're looking for a continuation of risk off.
More likely than not, yes.
Okay.
Now, another two things that we already talked about on Friday, and
that was great advice. And Greg confirmed that may have been it up around 127. But I recall you saying, first of all, don't get long. It's a bear market, and we could have a bounce, but you were talking about a feeble bounce right to your area. It went right there.
Yes, and the same thing applies to USD NOK. Have a look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very clear. Actually, the bounce in the USD NOK was even weaker. Look at it.
Yeah,
and
really
it's not by accident.
Terrible RSI readings near the low. I mean, like a 20 or something like that.
Definitely.
Markets don't bottom with extreme oversold readings.
Yeah, and look at the
week back.
Look at the bounce. The bounce barely made it above 40 RSI.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing bullish with this price. Nothing bullish with this price. And for full disclosure, I'm already since Friday afternoon a little bit of short. It's actually 40% of my regular position in USD NOK with a stop above the high, and I'm going to be adding if we break below the low. I'm going to go back to full position. So I already took a stab at the USD NOK, but it's not a trade I strongly suggest, because I don't expect a new low to be very deep. I just wanted to have some exposure in the market, so it's not necessarily something I would suggest, because I expect a stronger bounce after we see a new low. That's why
I know what this is. It's a vacation trade. You want to pay for your vacation with your short note.
It's more or less a vacation, and I just wanted to have something back in the market, because I had all my trades off before I went.
I can't relax unless I have something to worry about.
Yeah, and I had absolutely no exposure in the market, and I told myself on Friday, okay, what is the cleanest thing you see here? And for me it was USD NOK that it's going to resume. It's going to resume lower. By the way, I remember explicitly telling here that I expected a new low in the cable as well. And I still believe that this consolidation that we see here has nothing bullish to it, absolutely nothing bullish to it.
Right.
So I still expect a new low in the cable, more likely than not.
How about maybe your 78.6 level, 127.30?
Yes, very likely. 128 for sure. I had said since we were in the ascending wedge that I believe that 128 is going to be retested again. So 128 is, at the very minimum. And here comes the problem I have with the euro, the cable, and the euro pound. And I'll explain what the problem is.
The euro looks so bullish. Yeah.
Yes, the euro looks like it's bull flagging at the moment. The cable looks like it has at least one more low to produce.
Right.
And on the other hand, if you gave me this chart and told me what should you do with it, I would tell you that, you know, you should be short. This is euro pound, okay?
Right. Yeah.
But obviously, my outlook on the euro USD chart, on the cable chart, and of the euro pound chart, obviously conflict. So something has to give. Something has to give. So what do you do in this occasion? It's very simple. You don't do anything. I like confluences. I like confirmation. In this case, I have neither, because I have contradicting technical views, and quite clear actually. And since not all three charts can play out the same way, because obviously if the euro is bull flagging at the moment and the pound looks bearish, which if you ask me, I believe in both of them technically, I mean they're quite clean, then the euro pound cannot simply turn around, break below this wedge and plunge towards 88.70. So despite writing so in the analysis for each of the pairs, because in isolation, this is what we see from a technical perspective, I have to tell you that this is troubling because, you know, they can't play out at the same time. And that's the reason why I wouldn't be trading. Yeah, that doesn't happen often, but it happens from time to time. And you know something, you have to embrace it. I mean, what can you do? It is what it is, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of keen, a keen euro pound off of one more low in the pound, around 28 to 750 to see where it's at. And you know, one thing about the euro, you could call it a flag, but if it's a flag, it better get going here because I've seen flags just turn into downtrends or uptrends. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right. It still fits perfectly the criteria of a flag. Perfectly.
Right.
Perfect. It hasn't gone for too long.
Unless it takes out 16, it looks like that's a lot of confluence there. I think we will get down there one more time, but we'll see.
Yeah, and you know something else, Dale? Looking at it from a candlestick perspective as well, just count how many candles in a row here have produced long lower wicks, which means what? It means that every single
people
time
coming in buying it.
Yeah, every single time we had a decent sell-off during the day, there were people that were saying, "Oh, this is a nice buying opportunity."
Right.
So, for this to fail as a bull flag, we need to see a strong move that is going to materially influence and skew the conviction that many market participants have at the moment that this is still bullish. Perhaps a good opportunity that would make everything blend in, that would definitely require a failure of this as a bull flag and turn lower, would be Jackson Hole, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, if Draghi gives us something important this week, something way more dovish than the market's expecting, then this could, turn around, fail as a bull flag, and this could also trigger the euro pound technical pattern, the ascending wedge, which looks quite clean at the moment. Okay.
Well, it's going to be interesting because, the market, and you brought it up, how the market's run over every jawbone by Draghi. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if he wants to be embarrassed again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about it, because I think that for the market to buy in to something very dovish from Draghi, it's going to have to be something concrete and not just, as you said, simple jawboning, because that's not going to work. The market currently is convinced, and I mean the signs have been telling us so since months ago,
right,
that the next move for the ECB is not going to be loosening the monetary policy, but tightening. and the market is already pricing in that. Now, add to that the fact that the market is showing less and less confidence to the ability of the current US administration to push through reforms that could empower the economy to do better and hence enable the Fed to resume on the tightening cycle. And, you know, we have a perfect storm here in a sense. And that's why the Euro USD has been moving higher. Okay. You know, along, of course, with something we've seen since a long time ago, with the major decrease in political risk in Europe. So, you know, all these factors combined have led to this more than 10%
weak dollar. Kind of like the beginning of a confidence crisis.
Yeah, exactly. And you know something, now speaking of the dollar, let's go to the DXY. And tell me something. What makes you think that this is, another, I mean, come on, look at it. How many did we have? Every single one of them actually broke to the downside. And does this look like bullish price action to you? Does it?
A little better because of the divergence, but not, if I just look at the chart, I'd say no. But I would think that there's at least a shot for maybe your confluence up around 95, where the top of the flag comes in and your green 200
yes,
might
of course. This might prove more than an ABC. It might prove like a double zigzag and have an ABCX, ABC, and make it all the way to 95. Yes, sure, it can.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't bet on it.
Let's face it, this is a downtrend. There is absolutely no question about it. From here to here, this is a clean downtrend. And the price action until now has given us nothing that would make us say, oh, you know, this is a bottom.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hear you.
Statistically speaking.
Just kind of like what Blake is saying, you know, you can't find any fundamental reason to be long the dollar. There might be some technical reasons. They're not even that strong.
And you know something, since I don't have multiple screens, but I have two iPads next to me, let me have a look at the DXY, and I can tell you something as well. Let me go to the DSI, the Daily Sentiment Index, and let's see, because I think that even the dollar sentiment that was very, 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 very oversold has recovered somewhat, which means that, let me find it.
So that
by
part
the way,
of the equation, that part of the equation isn't as valid anymore.
It's at 30. It's at 30. It was down at 8. It was down at 8 with a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 100. I remind you, and it's now at 29. So the sentiment even isn't extreme anymore. It is bearish, but definitely not extreme anymore. But speaking of the DSI, do you know which is the currency that has the most extreme reading at the moment? It's actually the Japanese yen, which has a reading of 92. So the sentiment on the yen at the moment is extremely bullish. Extremely bullish.
Yeah, with all that negative technical damage.
Yes.
Okay,
so,
I know where you're going.
Yeah, so, you know, this is something that you have to keep in mind. I mean, the USD yen, for example, you know, still seems bearish, and many yen pairs still look, you know, like very bearish. But the sentiment has reached a very extreme level, and if we get some kind of, you know, an excuse, a reason, or whatever, this might create, you know, some violent move to the opposite side, because usually wrong positioning and wrong sentiment lead to very violent reactions in the market when they combine with some kind of trigger. So we don't have that trigger yet. So sentiment on its own is not enough to reverse, you know, the yen flows. But keep that in mind, that if we get something with how the sentiment is at the moment with the yen, we might see a reaction that is not expected at the moment. Having to do with that, And having said that, do you want to tell me some of the questions of friends so we can start looking at some specific current
I
affairs?
don't have any yet. Any particular instruments you want Steve to look at, Face? Go ahead and put them out there.
I know that we're in the middle of the summer, and today, even if you look here at the current affairs and monitoring,
Okay, I got two. Ron's interested in crude. Okay, here they come. Crude, palladium, Kiwi yen.
Okay, let's start with palladium. Let's start with palladium for one reason, and one reason only, because it was one of the things I was looking at just before we started, and I forgot to mention it. The reason is this: because palladium is still playing ball very nicely, as we expected.
Yeah.
But I do expect, I do hope actually to see a reaction, as I had said last week, somewhere between 940 and 950, because we have this very beautiful channel, and I will love to see a reaction from the top of the channel, and I think that is going to be a very nice shorting opportunity. So nothing yet having to do with palladium, but I think we're getting close to getting a good opportunity. Yes.
Maybe another 10 bucks.
Yes. So,
will you wait for bearish candle off that line?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's what I thought. So it's not just getting to the line, it's how the market reacts off that.
It reacts to it. Correct. Or perhaps we might see a penetration through the line and then a reverse. Yes, a throw over and then a reversal that will tell us that was a fake or anyhow a false break. That's also a very nice signal. Okay, so don't worry about it. I'm aware that we are at a critical juncture in this market. I'm monitoring it on a daily basis, and I'm going to tell you when I think that we have something actionable. But my gut instinct tells me that we're not far away from that point. Okay. Now, having to do with crude oil, here we have the following thing. First of all, crude is very rude, as always, because crude loves to screw around with traders. It has been doing so all year long, at the beginning of the year, because actually later on I found it quite easy to read, and we've had some very good predictions, if you remember with it. But for example, here, it faked us with this triangle, because this triangle just proved to be like, an A, B, perhaps C of this move. But let me tell you something. Crude produced this very nice move on Friday, and this is a morning star formation here.
It looks okay, doesn't it?
I'll tell you, we're currently, it looks okay. It still looks like it could continue higher. And I'm a little bit inclined to believe that it is going to resume higher, despite having failed this triangle here. But I can tell you something for sure. We're currently back again in this important zone. So what happens from current juncture is going to be very important, because if it fails from current levels, then it's not going to look so good anymore. But if it actually manages to bridge this and close above 49, then I think we're headed towards 52 at least once again.
Just a little geo stuff. Trump is on the verge of saying that Iran's not in compliance with the, and it makes me think of Bush. Bush had the axis of evil, and he named North Korea, Iran, and Iraq, but he went for the softest target. And now we have problems with North Korea and Iran. And which one's the softer target? Less blowback. Iran. So and there's some stuff happening out there in the Straits of Hormuz. So it's possible. In fact, I have Kirk Spanos tomorrow, and he talked about this a couple months ago. So he's watching this brewing. He actually thinks there might be some kind of shooting, short-term conflict with Iran. And
there is also one more factor that we have to take into account.
The Saudi Aramco IPO.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, one more thing. At the moment, Trump is desperate to create some kind of a divergence.
Right.
I mean,
that's when people do it right. So to to take the attention off him and get everyone to unite
Exactly. Everybody has spent several weeks focused on Trump, on his associates, on who is exiting the White House staff, who did what happened with the Russians, etc., 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 etc. He's desperate to create some kind of a divergence away from him, his campaign, his family, his associates, etc.,
That would
etc.,
do it.
etc.
That would do it.
On some degree, definitely it would. On a decent degree, definitely it would. And I think that would be very helpful for him.
He's also surrounded by, he has the most militarized cabinet in history.
True. So many generals, etc. Yes.
Throw out there.
Yes. And as we've said plenty of times in the past, any kind of volatile big moves in instruments, especially like oil, is always to the upside. Okay. And this is especially not the period for somebody to be going off on a weekend being short oil. So
DB disagrees with me, thinks that North Korea would have less blowback. I don't know. Why don't you go spend a month in Seoul and get a pair of binoculars? Anyway, there are some other requests. We have Aussie Yen by Jason Wright. Excuse me.
Definitely. Aussie Yen. Let's have a look at it.
And then CAD Yen. So.
Speaking of the Aussie Yen, I'm still of the opinion that the Aussie USD should most probably produce the next move to the upside. Okay. So I'm still seeing here something that looks more or less like a bull flag. Initially, we thought it's a triangle, but it's more or less like a bull flag. Or actually, if we want to be more specific, it's more or less like a pennant, something like this. Okay. So until proven otherwise, I'm inclined to believe that the next move of the Aussie USD is higher, and most probably to produce one more high before probably fails. So having said that, let's have a look at Aussie Yen. Okay. This
So
is
we
exactly
a new high in Aussie and a failing rally ABC in Aussie Yen the short over 88.
Yeah.
ABC.
Listen. Well, sorry, Aussie Yen. It is likely. One thing is for sure. When we had this ascending channel, I had said that a breach of this should take us all the way back to 85.70. We got that. So, on one hand, we have already fulfilled. Actually, we even got to test to the PIP, the 50% feed. So, from this perspective, the correction lower is sufficient. Okay, we've already covered a decent amount of distance. Now, time-wise, it could end up being more prolonged. On the other hand, this correction higher started like a V-shaped correction, but then we got this huge bearish engulfing day, and this skews the technicals. So, in all honesty, I think that the chances are now that we will get to see more likely one new low than going up from here. Okay. So we might even go a little bit higher, but I think we're going to have a new low afterwards.
Yeah, I like that. I like that look. Steve, do you have a pen on you? Because I have to step away for a minute. I could just give you, I know you can't see the questions.
I'm here. Don't worry. I will tell him the questions. Don't worry.
Oh, okay, Stel. All right. So I think we skipped Lorraine wanted Kiwi Yen. Then there's Euro Aussie, and then that's where we left off, Stel.
I got it.
Okay. Lorraine.
Okay.
You see Lorraine Dubinka.
Okay.
Hi, Lorraine. All right. Hope you're enjoying your time here in Face. You too, Chad, George, Jason, Craig. Fun to ask Steve questions, isn't it? Give me a why if you're glad Steve is back. Because he answers every question that you could possibly come up with, and someone correct me and said it's a zloty, not the zlotny. So very sharp audience we have here. Okay, Stel.
Okay, before we have a look at the kiwi again, as I did before, let's have a look at the kiwi. Okay.
Thanks.
So there are two things I see here with the kiwi. First of all, we came back, we retested this. You can see this as a triangle as well, like this. Sorry, I have a magnet on, so let me fix it. So this could have been a triangle as well. Okay, so we came back, we retested the broken triangle, and now we are showing a reaction of it. But I'm still torn with the Aussie and the Kiwi, and they have been for some time now, simply because on one hand, I see the possibility of a reaction here and a new high, but Kiwi does not look as bullish as the Aussie to me. So let me be clear on that. If I wanted to be long one of these two pairs at the moment, I would be long the Aussie USD and not the Kiwi. Because on the other hand, there is another scenario I see here, which is this. Okay, and this creates possibly a head and shoulder stop. Okay, so I honestly don't know what to do with the Kiwi here. I mean, I don't know what to do, that's why I'm not trading it. It's very simple to me. But I mean, since you're asking for my advice, I don't know what to do. I can tell you two things, if they help you. First of all, I would not be short here since we held this area. Okay, so I wouldn't easily be short here because I wouldn't know where to put my stop loss, because even if it wants to resume lower, it might rebound quite higher. It might rebound to the 61.8 of this and then move lower or whatever. So knowing that this is a key level here around 72.20, 72.30, I wouldn't know where to put my stop loss because it wouldn't necessarily have a reward to risk ratio of 1-to-1. So, you know, if you believe that Kiwi is heading to new highs as well, you still have the reward to risk to be long against this low. But if you're not sure about it, in my opinion, you can't be short either. So I think that the Kiwi is not easy to read at the moment, and that's why I remain, I stay away from it. On the other hand, Kiwi yen has been much cleaner. It has actually created like a triple top here. This is a major important zone. And since we started moving lower, since this rejection, we said that we're monitoring two zones for a reaction. One of them was this, 80.50, and the second one was the 79 zone. If you see, they actually proved once again that they're important to the market. Why? Because the first zone did not stop the downtrend, but the second one did. And the second zone acted as resistance once we got a rebound of here. So we're currently trapped between two major support resistance zones. As I said, one of them is roughly the 79 one, and the other one is the 80.50. So as long as we stay between here, obviously, seeing this move, it's very easy for somebody to say that the main scenario, and I do believe that, is that the main scenario is that we're going to create something like a bear flag here, and then perhaps, so perhaps something like this, and then perhaps go back down here to test this ascending trend line, which is quite key, quite critical. So my main scenario here would be something like that. So in my opinion, the Kiwi yen is much better to read from a technical perspective than the Kiwi is at the moment, because I see two scenarios in the Kiwi, and I can't easily say that one of them is prevailing. Okay, so that's my view on Kiwi and the Kiwi yen. Stelio, what else do we have? Some questions?
Euro Aussie. Chad is asking. Euro Aussie.
Yes, of course.
And I think your son Jason is asking for something as well.
No. That's another kid actually. I'm at a very nice I'm at one of the restaurants here because actually Jason is sleeping at the room, and although it's a double story one, etc. You know, I didn't want to wake him up. So okay, Euros. Now listen, Euros. I'm still inclined to believe that Euros remains bullish, especially if the risk-off scenario becomes true. And we expect once we had this rejection on the downtrend from this zone, which we had already marked, we said that, okay, this thing is going higher and most probably going to new highs. But we got rejected once again from this important zone. That doesn't say much because this can simply be a correction. And as you see, the 38.2 has held. So I will tell you one thing. As long as this reaction lower does not show some follow through, which then we might get a more complicated correction, like maybe CX, ABC, or whatever, which might take more time to evolve, I would say that I'm inclined to believe that it remains bullish. But, you know, be quite careful because being long here was very easy because we had a huge signal. It was this outside white candle exactly on the 200 DMA on the major support zone that we had here. It was also a fib confluence, if I remember. And this was the easy part of the trade. Now, being long here, you know, it's not so easy to do because we might easily retrace, you know, lower before moving higher. So I remain, you know, bullish, but I wouldn't be buying at current levels and I wouldn't be getting involved at current levels unless I saw some big signal. Somebody can say that this hammer that we got 2 trading days ago was a nice signal, and as long as it slows hold, you can, you know, you can keep looking higher, hoping that this low is going to be respected, which was at 147.40. And yes, this is a viable trade and it has the reward to risk. But I usually look for confluences, so this would not be the kind of trade I would take. Okay, so this is my opinion on the Euro Aussie. Definitely, though, if you see risk-off accelerating, you should expect this pair to be very well bid. Same with the Euro Kiwi. Okay.
One note before we go into the next one. Dimitri is asking, we were talking about sentiment and the yen before, and he says, did you mean to say based on the sentiment that the crowd is extremely long yen? It's not actually a positioning, it's not a COT. This is sentiment, Dimitri. So it's more of, you know, what people think. You know, is it bullish, is it bearish? It's different than positioning. Okay, so this is a different index.
Yes,
and are they bullish again? Guys, are they bullish yen or bullish US dollar yen?
No, yen. They're bullish
yen. They're bullish again, yeah. In terms of sentiment, not positioning again.
Yes. So this is a good comment from Dimitris. We've mentioned it at the previous webinar when we had a conversation about that. Listen, we pay a lot of attention to 3 factors here, having to do with signals of trading, because if we take into account the macro stuff as well, it's 4 factors. 1, the price action. It does not matter, Dimitri, how you like to dissect price action. Do you like to take it from a basic technical analysis perspective, from a candlestick perspective, from a harmonics perspective, from an Elliott wave perspective? By the way, in ForexAnalytix, we do approach the price action from all these perspectives, and that's what we do that is unique, because we're looking for confluence between, when we see confluence between the different types of analysis that they show us the same thing. Trust me, we've been doing that for a long time now, more than a year. We know that the results are extremely positive. I mean, the percentage of something happening is extremely high. But regardless of which kind of approach you take to interpreting the price action, one thing we take into account is the price action. The second thing we take into account is the macroeconomics. Okay, we don't take it so much into account for every kind of trade, because some trades, if you want to take a trade for a week, obviously any kind of macro factor might not influence it at all. But you always want to have it at the back of your mind. Okay, because it's always nice when you trade in the direction that the macro is showing you as well. Then there are two more elements. It's positioning, which you can see through the CODs, but unfortunately that has some kind of a delay. I can hear my voice back. I don't know, Stelio, are you using a speaker or Dale?
No, I'm not. But I can hear your voice.
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Maybe I'm using it.
Oh,
okay,
Greg is
okay.
there.
Yeah, and okay, Grega, you can pitch in as well. It's going to be wonderful. Actually, I haven't had you in some time because I was on vacation, and that would be lovely. And perfect. So what I was saying is that the other factors we take into account is positioning and sentiment. Why? Because when the technicals tell you that something is about to happen, and on the other hand, you have both the positioning and the sentiment showing you that the market and the mindsets of the market participants are extremely biased to the opposite side, then you know that it's a matter of days to see a big move. You know what I mean? And we've seen that many times. So when you get lucky and you have all these factors confluencing, technical showing you one way and sentiment and positioning showing you in extreme the opposite way, then you know that the technical reaction towards the way that technicals are showing is going to be happening, and it's going to be violent. Okay, Grega, I'm really eager to see what you have in mind. What do you have to show us?
Sure. Actually, I joined the webinar last week. I think it was Wednesday, I think, or Tuesday. And we discussed about some commodity currencies. Just send me a screen, please, so I can share my charts.
Sure, I got it. I got it.
Can you give me the screen? Thank you. Yes.
There you go, buddy.
Okay, firstly, we will take a look at dollar CAD. If you remember, we talked about this trend line resistance, about this channel, and they said that normally in fourth wave pullback, market will retest this trend line and then turn to the downside. And so far, this is playing out very nicely. More important
forecast. You were there right on the button that day.
Yes, and actually it was because we have seen 38.2% retracement, which is ideal fib level for fourth wave pullbacks. So this 38.2% came exactly at this trend line. So that's why I was even more confident.
And Grega, if the USD NOK, which has the exact same structure with a little bit of a in the USD, and a neat signal, which was the retest of the 8 level, which has been a pure level for the market. I had already said in advance that a retest of 8 should be a nice sell in the USD NOK. And if you see, the USD NOK is equally clean, I think, and is equally breaking below a fourth wave as well. Am I right? I mean, from an Elliott wave perspective, do you see the same thing I say?
Yes, actually, I issued PIP short last week, and we are still in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it because I was on vacation. Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Yes, so actually, yes, I'm still short in dollar NOK, and I agree. Actually, why I picked dollar NOK instead of dollar CAD is actually a very simple reason, because here pullback on dollar NOK to the upside was much slower, much more corrective in the price action compared to dollar CAD. Dollar CAD has had much sharper recovery. As I said, dollar CAD retraced for 38.2%, and we can see here dollar NOK only for 23.6 against the previous drop. So that's why I picked the dollar NOK, and you can see that clearly we are now much closer to a break to a new low on dollar NOK, which means there's potential for much larger sell-off compared to dollar CAD. So that's why I picked the dollar NOK, because I think it's acting better when it comes to.
I'm 100% in agreement with you. 100%. I see the same thing from a basic technical analysis perspective.
Yes, and what I also liked on Friday is actually the fact that dollar CAD came nicely to the downside with dollar NOK as well, but actually crude oil bounced with a delay. Okay, and what really is important is that current recovery on crude oil here on the left chart on the 4-hour is already showing signs of an impulse, and that's very important because it's just another confirmation that commodity currencies such as NOK and CAD could remain strong. Okay, because we know that these markets are correlated. So yes.
Since you talk about it, I also talked about the crude before, and I said that I remain bullish as long as we hold the recent low. What is the bigger structure you see in oil? Because we only had a look at it from a from a shorter term perspective. What is the longer term perspective you have here in oil?
Longer term, still looking for break.
Yeah?
Yes, and still waiting on this decisive break above this upper channel line. It didn't happen yet, but if we consider that we made only 3 waves of decline, that's the first important thing why we should go to the upside. And the second important thing is that we could see a very sharp rally to the upside because we had an ending diagonal here in wave C, and normally ending diagonals cause a very strong reversal. So I would not be surprised if we'll see a sharp continuation higher this week and take out this previous high of the month, and then normally we would be much higher away from this trend line. So I would then look for continuation to much higher levels here on crude oil, probably back towards 2017 highs.
Greg, by the way, I don't know if you had since the beginning, and let me abuse your presence here to tell you one issue I had. I mean, I have conflicting views at the moment between the Euro USD, the cable, and the Euro Pound. The reason is the following. Simply from a basic technical analysis perspective, I see a clean bull flag being formed in the Euro USD, which obviously points higher. On the other hand, I remain, since the break of the ascending wedge, bearish the cable. But
okay.
I also see an ascending wedge in the Euro Pound, which tells me that the Euro Pound is going to move lower. But as you very well understand, expecting the Euro USD to move higher from a technical perspective, the cable to move lower, and at the same time the Euro Pound to move lower.
I exactly know what you mean. Yes. Actually, I think that when Euro Pound could move to the downside is once we get a new deeper pullback on cable. Okay, and I think this will happen from a new low. Now, if I just make a quick update here.
I said that as well. I expect another low at least myself as well. I agree with you 100%.
That's what I think. So, Greg, what you're saying is that the pound will outperform the euro on the upside for quite a way.
Yes, I think that here we will see a pullback, firstly break to a new low,
right,
and then a turn to the upside, and maybe a pullback to the upside here will be sharper than euro-dollar rise.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. All right, buddy.
So once cable turns for a free-wave rally, that's when I would be expecting euro-pound to come slightly to the downside. Okay, but why I think this could happen and why I think we could get a bounce on cable is actually because here I'm observing idea of a triangle. We are in a 4th wave. Triangle occurs prior to the final move within a larger trend, which means we will expect a final wave within this larger trend, larger 5-wave decline. So that's when I would be expecting a bounce, and we'll be looking for a 3-wave rally, and that's when I would expect pound to be stronger, but euro dollar could also move to the upside, but with slower pace probably, and that's when euro pound could move or turn to the downside.
Okay, Nate. So from an Elliott wave perspective, in isolation, how do you see the Euro USD at the moment? because I still see it remaining bullish. I mean, it's obvious
Yes,
that it has no, yeah.
we are bullish, and actually here is this updated chart. We are looking for a 5-wave advance from the lows still ongoing, and it looks like the current pulse is just a 4th wave. The only question is how deep will this be, wave 4? And as we talked with Blake last week and Dale as well last week, ideally we would see a retracement all the way back towards this broken trend line, and then you turn to the upside. If we consider that wave 4 could be somehow similar in distance and maybe even in price compared to that wave 2 that unfolded through February or March, okay?
Yeah, this points to a much shallower correction then.
Yes, exactly. So the idea is here that euro-dollar is definitely in some kind of a corrective pattern, but for now it's too soon to say that this correction is over and that we are going higher. But even if euro-dollar is going higher, I think that there are much better setups, as I said, against the US dollar. As I said,
I agree with you. I wouldn't be wrong here.
Yes, and also we have Aussie dollar made maybe some textbook corrections here. Firstly, here it was a 4th wave pullback within wave C, so I'm looking for a wave C to continue higher, most likely this week towards 78.60. The fact is that pullback was clearly overlapping, very slow. More importantly, we have seen a very strong breakout to the upside last week through the trend line, which acted as a very good support.
You know something, Grega?
So
I also said that the Aussie USD is bull flagging at the moment. It's in a pennant actually at the moment, and it's going to break higher. You know what troubles me is that although the Aussie USD's move lower was textbook corrective, I mean, I said it since very early that it had spent a lot of days going lower, but it had covered very, very little distance, and that's a textbook correction. On the other hand, Kiwi does not look, that good to the upside.
yes, actually, Kiwi seems to be in a correction here.
But it's a much deeper one. Yeah.
Yes, but still, even if this is going to be only a 3-wave rise on New Zealand dollar, okay, you still may get retracement back to 74.50, maybe 74.20, and during this time, I think that Aussie could hit a new high. Okay?
Yeah.
Make that sense? So when we get wave C to the upside here, you may see extended move higher on Aussie to a new high. So for let's say for this week we expect both New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar to continue higher, no matter if we are only
okay. Wait a second though. Yeah, I have an interesting question for you though here, which is the following. We expect a break higher in the Aussie USD and a new high, but most likely than not, if we're just expecting another incremental new high in the Aussie USD and having the Kiwi that has already corrected lower, a lot deeper, then we expect divergence because a new move higher today in these pairs would create most likely than not a new high in the Aussie USD, but it would not produce a new high in the Kiwi. So the question is, do you expect that perhaps the Kiwi has already seen the top and the Aussie has one more top, and this kind of a divergence, as we've seen plenty of times in the past, one creating a new high while the other one not following to a new high, will also signal like a more significant, a more medium-term top for the two pairs?
I think that yes, that this could be an evidence that top is coming, but to say that New Zealand has already reached the top, I think it's a little bit too early. But definitely, what I'm seeing is that both markets are in current recovery as a temporary. New Zealand dollar and Aussie dollar. So in September, I would be expecting and looking for a bearish reversal, and I would not be surprised if this divergence that you mentioned will prove to be correct to identify a top. So yes, I would not be surprised, and I'm expecting that this top would be shown this year still before we go even lower again. Okay?
Okay, very nice. Very nice. Perfect.
Okay. So we have a guest today?
Continue. My guest is having technical issues, so if you guys want to keep sharing your
sure.
Gregor, go on. What else do you see?
What else I have?
Oh yeah, you know something. A lot of people definitely want to know what is your point of view for the indices at the moment.
For the indices? Oh.
Yes.
Actually, I will try to be very technical and not too much biased. Okay, so I will not say like everyone is trying to say top is in, top is in. Okay, let's focus on the trend and let's try to ride this trend. Okay, so the fact is that we are still in uptrend, and that any type of a pullback that is coming, I think it's a corrective. Why? Because here we are tracking a wave 5 of 5, which still is not made by 5 waves. So this is wave 1, 2, wave 3. We expect wave 4 to unfold and then push higher to wave 5. I'm still not sure if this wave 4 is already underway. I would have to see a monthly closing price. Okay, so August, as you can see,
if wave 4 is unfolding in such a big structure, obviously you don't expect that this ABC you were showing before is enough of a 4th wave correction, right?
Yes, but what really matters at this stage is that, as I said, we are still in uptrend and we have 3 waves down. So saying that we are going much lower into wave 3, it would not make sense to say at the tops. So rather than looking lower, I would stay bullish, and I would wait on a bounce from this channel support line, and I would not be surprised if we see a bounce this week. And I'm looking very patiently, waiting for this break above former swing 4 here at 2440 on this index. If we pass it with impulsive price action, I in fact would look for a new trade setup on the long side, because clearly I would have enough of evidences of an only temporary setback, which was deep enough to cause a lot of fear around the traders and investors that went out and took their profits. But normally that's the sign when we could again resume the uptrend.
Greg, I have a question on Aussie. You were talking about the September time frame, you know, that the rally may run its course by then and then head down. And your count on S&Ps, if it's right and we bottom here, we could rally into the early September time frame too. Is there some type of cycle that's telling you to pay attention to early September? Because I know the Bradley model is pointing towards September 9th for some turning points. So did you have an
actually what I'm expecting in September market to turn is actually very simple. We have seen quite surprisingly strong moves during summer, right?
Okay.
So if we consider here an Aussie dollar, we have seen actually a break to the upside since June. So clearly we are in some kind of a uptrend here despite lower liquidity. So why I'm thinking is that market, when everyone are coming back in September, I'm expecting some kind of a stabilization, and normally this could cause a new swing. So that's why I'm thinking that September could be the case of reversals.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Okay, no problem. Anything else? We have still time, or?
Yeah, I don't. My guy might be 10 minutes late. He's in Colombia. Said there was a major storm. He's at an internet cafe trying to get online.
Actually, when we talked about the S&P, if we go to, back to the S&P, is that if we will get this bounce that I mentioned, let's say from the lower parallel trend line of this corrective channel, and if we get 5 waves up, then opportunities could be on yen crosses. So I'm actually watching few markets here. Let's take a look on Aussie yen. We have seen a very nice move to the upside, and clearly this is a deep pullback. So if we get a bounce on the S&P 500, if indexes will confirm that we are back in bullish phase, in bullish continuation mode, then I think that ASEAN could be the one to look for trades to the upside, because we retraced nicely for 38.2%, and it looks like that the uptrend could then resume in the next few days, let's say. Okay, but definitely I want to see confirmation from the S&P 500 first. The next thing is CAD yen is also looking quite interesting here. Also, we still don't have 5 waves up here in wave C to complete a bigger 3-wave recovery. So I would stay bullish here. We have seen a fake breakout here, okay, and then a turn to the downside. A lot of traders normally either they played on the long side on a breakout and they are now caught on the wrong side, or they were short and they had stops around these highs and they were also took out. So actually, I would not be surprised to see a resumption to the upside after this very nice pullback on yen crosses. The key pair for these pairs, yen crosses, should also be obviously dollar yen. We have seen some moves to the downside. We still don't see any bottom here. As you know, Blake, I talked about potential bottom last week here, and once again we fell even lower. But this decline still looks very corrective to the downside, so I'm expecting a turn higher in the next few days. And unfortunately, we will have to wait for new impulse up before we may say that lows are in. Okay, so if we get bounce on stocks, if we get bounce on dollar yen, I would look for some yen crosses on the low to play it, or to play them on the long side. Okay. So anything else interesting? You showed.
I was asking for Swiss, U.S. dollar Swiss.
Yes, dollar Swiss. Actually, this dollar was much stronger, as you know, against Swiss rather than against euro. Euro Swiss is much higher, and I'm looking for even prices to travel even higher. So I would look for new push up here on dollar Swiss, and the reason is 5-wave advance, 3-wave setback. Watch out for a 95.80 level to be maybe retested, and then move to the upside could resume for a wave C. But on the longer term, I still think that we are here in a wave 4, same as the set on euro dollar. I see it in a wave 4. If we look at the daily here, I would be expecting only a temporary bounce and then a new leg down to complete this 5-wave decline that we are cracking from 2016 highs. Okay, so for this week, either we will stay sideways, but sooner or later I would look for another push higher before we get downtrend continuation.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thanks for coming.
Do you have your guest here, Dale?
He says he's in. I'm typing it. I'm trying to find.
Okay. And then we can.
Waiting for you, Jose. I typed your name in. I'm not sure how you.
Grega, until we confirm that he's in, tell me something. Do you have account on the Euro Swiss?
Account on Euro
Are you
Swiss?
under Jose?
No, but I can take a look. Okay. I think I had it somewhere, but not really sure. So just let me explain this real quick. Okay, what I see here is that this was probably maybe even a triangle here, and now we are in A, B, C, D, E. So this was a triangle, and now I'm expecting prices to resume higher into wave C, and I will definitely be expecting that market will retest those this breakdown that occurred after CMB stopped with the back, right? This was what, 2 years back?
I'm 100% with you. I also expect the floor, the previous floor of the S&P to be retested.
Yes, so I would stay bullish here, and this definitely looks impulsive. If we go to smaller time frames, waves 1, 2, and now extended wave 3 on the way. So watch out for more upside after any pullbacks. If I also level the subwaves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so clearly it appears that we have some nice correction now. Okay, let me go to a smaller time frame. Where's black?
Oh my God.
Even from a simple technical analysis perspective, this is a great pennant. Bull flag pennant, say it as you wish, but this is obviously a corrective formation. I agree 100% with you.
Yes, I'm just looking if this made a new low here or not. Looks like a double bottom. I have a feeling that this could transform into a triangle here.
Perhaps.
Yes. So maybe we will stay sideways for a few more days and then watch out for a next break to the upside. But in either case, Euro Swiss could bottom the fourth wave here, or we will go sideways and then continue higher. So in both cases, as you said, we see a corrective movement and we'll expect continuation higher soon. Okay.
You and I agree too much. You're becoming my confirmation bias.
That's great. You're watching counts.
Thank you, Gregor.
Oh,
Thank you,
sure,
Steve.
no problem. Okay.
Really appreciate your great. Everyone thank the Wizard of Waves, Gregor Horvitz. Best Elliottician in the cosmos.
Wait a second. At the moment, I think more or less that I'm the Wizard of Waves. Have a look.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Huh?
Very nice.
Yeah.
When are you coming back?
On Sunday, or on Friday or Sunday. Actually, we haven't decided yet because we might go to another place for the weekend. But you know, I'm working from here almost all day long, so it doesn't make much of a difference. The only good thing is that I can, you know, get in the pool or in the sea and have a swim, like, you know, when I have like a 20-minute break, which, you know, is quite better than being in Athens.
Yes.
Okay, Jose, I passed you the baton, buddy. So waiting to hear your voice and have you share your screen. Thanks for weathering whatever was happening in Colombia to get online and hang out with us and show us some of your stuff.
Thank you, Dale.
Hi, Jose. How are you? You going to share
fine.
your screen?
No, I'm still lost.
You can't share your screen? There's a screen share option.
Yeah. Do you see something now?
Yes.
We do. Both your screen and your webcam, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But how I put the charts and things like that?
Just whatever you're looking at, you put it on that screen.
Yeah,
and
we now see a screen that says, let's get started.
Now we see
Now we
Forex
see your
Stock
slide,
Hunter.
I think, yeah.
So wherever your charts are, you go to that page. There you go. So you use stock charts. Are you a contributor on stock charts?
No, but I like that platform. I usually
Okay.
trade on AvaTrade. but because I came late and this is not my computer, it will take some time to charge my normal platform, but I will use this one.
Okay.
Do you see
So,
a stock chart right now?
Yeah, well, we see the triple Qs up there. We did a second ago.
Okay,
Triple Qs
okay.
are up there.
Okay,
So,
okay, perfect.
you know, we did this once before on FX Street, didn't we?
Yes, sir. Yes, we discussed about
So
euro
I interviewed
dollar.
hundreds, Jose. I forgot how you got into this game and, you know, what your journey was like at the beginning. How did you end up being a trader?
Okay, I have the luck to know some friends in the US. One guy from Russia, another from the US precisely, and they introduced me to this beautiful occupation. Now it's almost full time, and I love this game. You know.
Okay. Was it Vladimir Rybakov in Russia?
No.
Okay.
No, they are not trading anymore. You know, they make a big deal and they retire.
Okay. Where we all want to be. So,
Yes, sir.
okay. So, looking at the euro, it sure
Yes,
isn't
sir.
giving up much ground here at all, is it? Is it your contention that the euro is in a long-term bull market, or are we correcting the decline from 140 to 103?
No, as a matter of fact, last time we talked, I forecast parity. You know, it was May 2015, and it went to 104, if I don't get wrong. Okay, since then it has
It based for 6 months and then turned up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And actually, I'm surprised because the dollar has been so weak, and I didn't expect that. You know.
Okay. You're not the only one.
Yes, yes, I know. Many people should lost a lot of money with that kind of thought.
So how now, Brown Cow? Where we go? Where do you think we're going from here?
Okay, right now I'm neutral because I think we have a big up move, but it should consolidate between 115 and 120. I'm little bearish, you know.
Okay. So you're expecting a pullback towards 115.
Yes.
Before we make a new high. Okay.
Yes, definitely. I think we should go to 114 to be more accurate.
Okay. So before we make a new high, you think that high is going to stand that we put in a week or so ago? Because that was kind of a negative candle last week. So under last week's low, it should be vulnerable, don't you think?
Yes, past two candlesticks in the weekly chart, you know, 3 weeks ago it was a pin bar with a top in 119. You know, that's a little bearish to me. You know, if you see in March, March, April, in May last year, you know, we have the same candle and then went down, you know, until took the moving average, you know. I think it will go to the exponential 20-day exponential moving average at least. That's
so
why I'm talking about 114.
I see. Okay, nice look. You want to go to the Qs? What do you think? Have we topped, or is there one more high coming into September before the top comes in? I think you were on the Qs.
Yes, I love the Qs. You know,
you trade the Qs a lot. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes, it's my favorite index. You know,
so when you're bearish, do you trade that bearish ETF? I forgot what it's the symbol is. They have a bearish.
VXX?
Huh?
The VXX?
No, that's a VIX. There's a bearish. There's a bet ETF. QQQ is a bullish bet on the Qs, and there's a bearish bet on the Qs. I think it's TQQ.
Yes, but the problem is, in my platform, I don't have that chance. Then I hedge with the VXX when I'm long or vice versa. Yeah.
Okay.
And
you think after last week the VIX has bottomed?
I have been expecting the big bottoming for a while, you know,
for about a year.
I think, if I am honest, I think for more time, you know.
More time.
Yeah, but
okay, that's fine.
Maybe this time is different, no?
Let me ask you this, Jose. You know, most people on their Twitter account, they have a link because they have some kind of business going on, and you don't. You don't have a link, so you're just trading your own account, aren't you? You have no axe to grind. You're not trying to sell a course, or is that all you do is trade your own account? Do you manage other people's money? Is this your sole venture, is trading your own account?
I learned that to share is great, and I'm trying to give other traders my input, my opinion, my charts, you know, for free.
Yeah.
I don't know if later if I get more known thanks to guys like you, for example, that is an honor to be here. That I start a signals business or something like that. But right now it's not in my interest. I'm working on a new project. I have been training some guys in Colombia to provide me with signals, you know.
Okay.
Because I think trading is not a lone wolf business. You know, you start making some money, you get high, and then something happens and you lose again. You know, consistency.
I believe in collaborating with people. You know,
yes.
So you're developing kind of your own little mastermind. You're teaching people your stuff, and then you're going to have like meetings and discussions of markets, and your associates may see something you don't, even though you're the teacher.
Okay, this is my idea, and I want to share. I don't care if somebody else copy it. I train these guys, you know, they didn't know nothing about, they know nothing about this business,
right?
And they learn to know when to buy and when to sell based on the template that I give to each one of them.
Okay.
Then I create a platform, and they are sending me the charts, the signal, you know, and that's good because that remove my bias to select a specific pair or index or stock.
That's a very interesting method to overcome a psychological issue of having a bias. So you teach people how to trade, and then they send you their work, and instead of you trading your biases, you're trading the work that you taught them.
Exactly. That
is really, you are really, what an interesting way to make up for your own shortcoming. Interesting. I've never heard of anyone doing that before. So kudos to you, Jose.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And they get paid, you know, and what I'm trying to do is invite them at the end of the day, when they see the results, to invest with me. You know, we are gonna have a share account. You know, and because one is working for all and all are working for him, you know, or her, you know,
Right.
then I think we can make the money, you know, because alone, you know, I have my limitations, you know, and I know it's very difficult. I have great moments, you know, but then I lose. I don't have consistency. You know, I have my limitations. You know, there are some guys that are brilliant. It's not my case, but to overcome that limitation, you know, I did what you say, and you describe it perfectly. You know,
Okay.
that's what I'm working on it.
Okay. Well, you know that I'm always hoping that green pips rain down on you, and now that you have a team, that they rain down on you and your team. So why don't we wrap it with what you think, give me all your biases, is going to be the biggest trade going into the fall and into the end of the year? If you had to, I put a gun to your head and tell me what the best trade is going to be going into year end.
In the beginning of the year, I said that, not to you, but to my followers, that Ethereum was going to be the start of the year, you know.
Ethereum?
Ethereum,
oh, you're into the, okay, you're into the cryptos now. So,
yes, I love it.
All right. So Ethereum's your big bet into the end of the year. We're covering them now. So do you have a chart? I don't even know if you have a chart on Ethereum. What's your target to the upside in Ethereum?
I think 500 is my target, you know, my initial target, you know. Ethereum was my choice at the beginning of the years. Right now, you know, I think maybe Litecoin is powerful enough to make some waves, you know. But I think all should put their eyes on cryptos. You know, is where their action is. Definitely. Percentage move daily is terrific.
In what?
In every cryptocurrency, you know.
Okay.
But I only like.
But how about the execution issues and the spreads and everything? Are you actually trading them?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you gotta be very careful. My advice to the other trader is only to trade the ones that you see in MetaTrader. I mean, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, Ethereum, and Dash. Only those 5. You know, I think if they are in the MT4 platform, is because they already has the weight to be there. You know.
That's great advice. That's great
yes.
advice. Anything you could find on the MT4. Are the spreads tight on MT4?
Not that much, but I have this thought, Dale, is I don't care much about the spread, but to be right what the trend will be. You know, that's my thing.
You don't throw market orders in though, do you? Everything's a limit order?
No. I do.
You do market orders?
Yes, I program some orders, but normally I do live orders. You know, I see my projection and I enter. You know, I don't care if I'm wrong 5 cents, 10 cents, $1. You know, because
you know that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. I mean, you want to know you're in. It doesn't make a difference if you're not in at the greatest price, and you want to know you're out. Yeah,
exactly. I don't get upset if I am wrong, you know, for a little bit. To be right exactly is only a matter of good luck, you know.
Yeah.
The important thing is to determine the trend, you know, see the reversal, and that's it. You know, it's all I care.
Okay, well, Craig, you could follow Jose at Your Trading, UR_trading. And Jose, I want to thank you so much for your persistence, and I hope you're safe from the storm. And
I am. I am.
and it was great to talk to you again. Did you want to show one more chart before we say adios? Apple? Big Short, Apple?
No. Apple, it should close the gap. No.
Yeah. So you still like Apple?
Yeah. I am very short term. You know, we should go to 150, and then we will rethink what to do with that stock.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, my trading warrior brother.
Thank you so much to you, Dale, and sorry for the delay, but it's a pleasure. And
so keep in touch with me. Keep in touch with me and let me know how your team is doing, okay?
I will.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. See you, Jose. And
Okay.
see you. Do you have that Twitter handle? You're welcome, Mike. You can tell he's got a great demeanor. So thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow. I have Kirk Spanos tomorrow. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Thank you, Steve. Great to have your analysis back here. And Grega, thank you, buddy. And Stelios, thank you. And we'll see you for Turnaround Tuesday. Maybe something's going to set up for that. Adios.